Happy Thursday there, Tianon.
Yep, sure is a Thursday.
They still don't have as much snow shoveling to do anymore. This stuff is pretty much all melted.
Well, time to change the background again, huh?
I went over to check on the boat on Monday and the river was still frozen over. But I can go back to that one. I'll go back to one of these.
Yeah, that's what your driveway looks like now, right? After all that snow.
That's what a lot of things look like out there. But I was surprised to see the river was still frozen over on Monday. I figured that, it had enough mass there that stuff under it would have melted it back out from underneath, but nope.
I got a few flakes of snow on my windshield yesterday here in Las Vegas. That's
You
rare.
weren't supposed to tell me that. What happens in Vegas is supposed to stay there.
Yeah, right?
So let's see. We got the empty config and image spec you and I have been chatting on a little bit. Should we soft start on that one?
Sure.
Give folks a chance to
Really low
sign on. Well,
stakes.
what's that?
Really low stakes.
Yeah.
High pet entry.
What's the worst going to happen? Everybody depends on it, but
I think it
I did.
probably should be a pointer, but I don't think we can reasonably make it a pointer now.
Yeah.
Given that it will read a null just fine. I don't like it, but it's fine.
I mean, if somebody made it null, it's not going to break anything and go. So we could theoretically merge this as is without making any changes. I'm
Yeah,
tempted to change the wording and just say omitted.
yeah. The fact that the spec says this field can be null, but the specs go doesn't let you set it to null feels wrong. So we should fix one or the other. And if that's fixing the spec, so be it.
So change it to omitted. You like that one?
Yeah, that seems fine to me.
Okay, I can do that. Of the changes, I feel like that's the least bad of the options there.
Yeah, we
And it's
we
not,
don't have a good option.
I wouldn't say it's that bad. And if something out there is null, it's not going to break all the Go code out there. I don't know what's going to do to anybody else. That's the only thing I'm hesitant on there.
Yeah, I would hope that other implementations read the spec more carefully than the authors of our Go code did and actually support null there, but maybe that's hubris.
I mean, null is something you can do, but you could also not include it at all, and that would be valid. And so we're just updating the Go to not have it at all. And if we change the spec just to call that out, that feels decent enough. The JSON schema was like that as well. JSON schema just listed as, hey, you don't need that field at all there. It's optional. The required ones down there were just those three.
Yeah, does the JSON schema specify its nullability?
It is an object like the others, so I don't know if that means it can be null or not.
Any JSON schema experts in the room?
What else do we have that we do make null sometimes? Oh, Brian, I see the camera on. Are you gonna jump on mic too?
Hey man, my camera's on.
I was hoping we'd have a JSON schema expert chime in.
I've only generated it. I'm not an expert.
Yeah.
What was the question for it?
So over on image spec, we have got a config field in there. I'll pull the field up itself. Um, in the config JSON itself, the config JSON has a config object inside of it.
Hmm.
That config object is optional. But in our Go specs, we made it so that it was image config here, and the image is just a pointer to it is not a pointer to a struct, it is a nested struct, which means it can't be null, which means it can't be a pointer and all that kind of stuff in Go. But if you
Yep.
made it null in another tool, Go is fine with that. Go will just say you didn't set it, just ignore it. JSON parses and goes on about its way. So I think the question that Tina was asking was in JSON schema, can it be null in JSON schema if it's an object? Or
Yes.
okay,
Documentation disagrees. The JSON
JSON schema.
schema documentation says that type null is a separate type and that type object should not be null.
So in my JSON schema, I do have this,
Yeah.
and the parsers seem to be happy enough with it.
Weird.
So you have object and null as the type. Is that for the
Yeah.
config or something different?
Oh, that's something different.
Okay.
And I do it for other things too, like string or versus null, because it's YAML, and I don't want
Right. So
the thing
in
to deal with that.
So in our JSON schema, we didn't do that. So that would mean that technically
yeah,
it can't be null. Our docs say it can be null, but our JSON schema and the Go implementation both say it can't.
Yep, because you're doing a single object there, or a single entry.
and usually in cases like this, we defer to the spec language as the canonical answer. But changing that field to a pointer just so that it can be null is kind of silly.
Yeah, it's going to break a lot of people.
The language in the spec is kind of silly. To explicitly say this field can be null is kind of silly.
So the proposal that I'm suggesting is that we just say the field can be omitted, and then in which case, blah, 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 blah.
Or maybe even
I think
just
we're
if this field is omitted because it's already listed as optional. So it's already clear that it can be.
okay. That works.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the easiest agreement we've gotten in a long while.
Yeah.
Of all the things to break around here, that's the littlest ones. But yeah, I was running around my code. If anybody has played with it yet, I enjoy it. Go fix is the new hotness and Go with the 126 release. And it goes across all your code and says, change this, change that, modernize this, everything. And it picked up on that one and it said, I can't make it from a mid zero to a mid empty because that's a change of behavior, but you might have meant to do that. So it threw out a little warning message on me. And it was right. So, all right, I will get that updated. Easy enough. Another one that's been just raised up a little bit earlier today was taking all the IRC minutes and doing a massive, not too massive, but massive enough that it's how many files were in this? 463. Yeah, I love doing that to people. This is all the meeting minutes pulled in from wget with a recursive wget. And the only change at all I made in there was this index. If it comes up, it's probably going to take the page a minute if it's going to do that or not. I'm not sure if it will pull it up or not. There was a dot dot reference in the top, and I just pulled it out of the top level index. So I'm guessing I've just got too many files here, so it's not even going to jump down to that, scroll down to that. But yeah, recursive wget. It was all fun until I forgot the dot dot in there and started cursively going up the tree, and then it didn't want to stop. So my apologies to whoever on the Linux Foundation. I started to walk their entire website for a little bit.
I bet you were more respectful than an AI scraper.
Probably because I did stop it after a few minutes and the AI scrapers just don't quit. Uh, so yeah, image config got knocked out. IRC meeting minutes. If someone gets a chance to do a review on that, make sure the wget didn't do anything too crazy. The other two on distribution spec with the invalid range and the content digest header, those have been sitting out there for a while, so we just need to get a distribution spec maintainer on one of those, put some reviews on it. And otherwise, the only other update we've got here is from Jory, who was not able to make it today, but she jumped into the meeting minutes and left a note, and then I moved it from one section to another and reformatted slightly, so it's got my name on it. But this is from Jory, who couldn't be here. Stickers are in the mail. And for those in the TOB, there's another doodle sitting out there for people to respond to, which I didn't check to see if Sam Asage and others have already done it. I know I saw Dianon that did it as well. So if you haven't already responded to the doodle, we'll get that meeting set up and agenda will be proposed. I figure agenda is going to be two things at least, and folks can suggest other things, but the one that we're definitely meeting on is to figure out how to adjust the language in there for handling vacancies on the board. That should be an easy one. Maybe not easy, should be fun. The other one, I figured since we had everybody gathered together or had folks gather together for a meeting, maybe everybody, but as many as we can get, want to chat about the legal header, the copyright header and files, and make sure we're getting the right verbiage in the right places there. So that would be the only other thing I can think of for the agenda. But if folks have topics, I think that'll be good to make sure it gets on the agenda that goes out. And I haven't added my second one to their list, so that I was just going to respond to the email. And that's it. That's all I got today. It's a quick day.
Hey, I have a quick question about the 595. Uh, did you already go over that?
So this is just open for review for someone to put a review on there. I put mine on there. We just need someone like Mike or Derek to come in and put a review on it. But I think we're happy with it.
Yes. Cool, thank you. And there was another issue in the distribution spec, 494. Sorry, I don't know how to.
Okay.
Yeah.
The digest algorithm stuff. Okay. So this goes back to all the fun that I've been playing with on the other side, which let's see, reworking the entire conformance suite. And I'm slowly getting there. But the conformance rework is going to do things like, let me shrink down some of these things. Yeah, so I've got two blob tests in here. So I got the 256 blob test and I got the 512 blob test that does all the same tests on the blobs. And we'll need to do some of that on like pushing manifest with different digest algorithms. So we'll have to have something in here at some point that'll do a manifest push with 512 as well. This is all kind of a prerequisite. So this all goes into another issue that, or Not specifically this one, but we've
Yeah,
got the pull request sitting
543.
out here.
543.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a proposal that got held up. And this is what I'm working on right now. So 543 was me going through, and then where this got hung up was I started looking at it and saying, if I do this with the existing conformance, it basically means I have to rewrite all the conformance tests to double up all the tests. And that was just, I didn't want to maintain that. So that's where the conformance redesign came in. So that's 588. Once this goes through, it unblocks everything else.
I see. Do we have any open question on the design, like the API designer, like how it should behave?
On the API designer,
Or like,
not quite.
yeah, not quite.
Rephrase that for me.
So I was just wondering, like, do we have any open question that we need to answer before we can move forward with the implementation?
Of the conformance redesign or of
No.
the other digest support?
The digest support.
Okay, so this is an option. There is a second option that got put out there. Did he put it there or did he put it over here? Yeah, the pushing multiple tags is the other one. Jeff had a different suggestion out there, which is looking very interesting. It's an alternative. So as a general API level, we've got two options that are sitting out there. One is the one that I proposed, and the other one is this one that Jeff has with 591. His thought is to push to a digest and have an optional list of tags as arguments, query arguments on the push or on the put request. Both of these would solve that issue. This would solve some additional things. So it's one of those where we're looking at this and saying this might be a nice alternative to what I was proposing.
I see. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll take a look at this one. I don't think I saw this one before.
Yeah. Both of these are pretty much going to end up behind this, though. This is held up with me. I need to rewrite the conformance page itself. So the main conformance page for the distribution spec has all these things where it says, okay, you've got these workflows, you support all of them. This all has to get rewritten because the way the new test goes, I don't have it broken down by that anymore. I have it broken down by a whole lot of different APIs that we're running and a whole bunch of different data types that we're running. And so it's going to be a different look for this list here. And so I'm next up on my list is to rework this page a little bit for how it needs to look when we start running these other conformance tests. And then once that's done, a couple of the other jobs need to get changed up for how the conformance are executed. People have this stuff running from GitHub Actions and other places. So rewriting this changes a lot of things. And then once all that's done, we get all these checkboxes checked off, then people actually have to approve and get this merged. And I expect that's not going to be an overnight task.
Yeah.
I'm expecting some maintainers to have questions.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Sounds good. Yep. Thanks so much.
Yeah. But all of this was pretty much when we started looking at adding support for another digest algorithm in there, the existing conformance tests just weren't going to scale for that. Because every time you add another algorithm, every time you add another API, this was just getting exponentially more complicated. You basically double the test every time, and that was getting too much to maintain. All right. Any other questions folks want to chat about today? I'm happy to take questions. I will take a bunch of these links and drop them in the minutes in case you missed any of those, just to make sure we capture all that. Are the distribution spec maintained? Who do we have on distribution spec today? I think nobody. Yeah, it's just me. But my expectation is once I dump that massive conformance redesign with, 16 files plus fairly large files, a lot of code in there for people to review. I don't think they're going to review it quick. We've got other things that have been really simple merges that people just haven't gotten a chance to, and so it's going to take some time for that to get through the maintainer process there.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Is there any place like do we maintain like an IRC channel anymore? Like where we can ask questions or like
Most of it is in Slack.
Slack? Okay.
So if you throw questions over there, I just this past week discovered the Matrix. So there is a chat over in Matrix. Last chat over there, I'm looking back. Someone asked a question back in October 2025 and nobody answered them. So I think Slack is the better place to ask any questions.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mhm. And thanks to Sam for the link. All right. That was all I had. Give it one last second or two here in case anybody has other topics. Otherwise, we'll wrap this thing up. Sajay, we keep wrapping up early. You can do both your meetings without skipping out on people.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That's not a good reason, but yeah, it was working out.
Whatever we can do to make things work out. All righty, folks. Well, on that note, follow up on Slack if you got other questions later on. I'm more than happy to chat there. And we'll circle back here next week. Cheers, all.
Thanks all.